Oh, and M.
Yeah, I got memorized.
Okay, so here are two of them. You'll sign. The third one is wrong.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. Rhonda, Nicholas, and Emma, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Inglewood, and that you will, to the best of your ability, faithfully perform the duties of office as a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission?
I do.
Right. All right, thank you.
Official.
We can start the meeting now.
Okay. Well, the meeting is called to order at 5:31 p.m. And we have some new faces. So if you guys don't mind introducing yourselves and telling us a little about maybe who you are, how long you've lived in Inglewood, and why you decided to join.
You're looking at me, so
Sorry.
I guess I start.
And we have Kristen on too. Hey, Kristen. We're doing a little bit of an intro here.
Okay, my name is Rhonda Wilcox. I've lived in Inglewood for 23 years in the same house in the same neighborhood. And I joined because I'm starting to run out of things for the city to do. I've done all of the classes they've offered and the different things, and thought that this would be a good next step and an interesting way to learn more about the city. So, and I totally support everything that has to do with Parks and Rec.
Tough to follow up. Hi, I'm Nick Palmer. Nice to meet you all. I've lived in Inglewood since 2018. Not as long as Rhonda, however, also enthusiastic about Inglewood and its parks. I enjoy everything the city has to offer. I'm from a really small town in Alabama, and Inglewood's always kind of given me that sense of home. And so whether it's tennis courts or public pools, what have you, just happy to be a part of this community and hopefully give back any way I can. Thanks.
Okay, Kristen, you're on the spot.
All right. Hi, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Kristen Beard. I'm super excited to sort of be there with you guys. I have lived in Inglewood since 2009, so I'm going on 6 years this year. And, I sort of got organically involved in Parks and Rec through my passion for the Parks Bond and getting it passed. And so I decided to apply kind of based off that passion and to see how else I can support Parks and Rec in our community.
Awesome. Well, welcome all three of you. We're really happy to have you. And Debbie, I'll kick it over to you for the rest of roll call.
You want us to go around?
Yeah, I was
and
going to do introductions of everybody.
Sure.
So go ahead and start.
Okay. I'm Emma Wood, and I've been in Inglewood since 2021. So very new, but very enthusiastic. I had a little girl a couple years ago, and we spent all of our time in the park and have continued to every day since. Cushing Park is our home after daycare hours, and thrilled to be on the board for going on 2 years now. Take it over to you. We're going in a weird pattern here.
I'm Jenna Biondolillo. I've been in Inglewood also not very long, since 2022. And I got involved with this Parks Commission because my career, I guess, just kind of made sense. I'm a landscape architect, so passionate about parks and all aspects of my life.
Excuse me. Cody Phelps. I've lived in Inglewood since 2020. I've been on the Parks and Rec Commission since 2022. Joined the commission just because I really enjoy supporting the Parks and Recreation system. Previously in Missouri, I worked for a Parks and Rec department for a city as well.
Welcome. I'm Dwayne Tucker. I'm here because I'm the liaison from the Inglewood School Board. I've been in Inglewood since 2003. Love it here. And Rhonda, if you're looking for your next adventure after this, there's 3 school board seats coming up in November. Just if you want to do some planning.
Hello, I'm Tina Prang. Good to see you guys all here at the meeting. Welcome. I am the City Council Liaison to Parks and Rec, and I've been in Inglewood since 2002.
So I'm Debbie Silvera. I'm the Executive Assistant for Parks Rec, Library and Golf, and the Staff Liaison. I do have to say I am an Inglewood resident. I grew up in Inglewood. And I've been with the city for over 30 years, so I can compete with me.
You got me beat.
Oh.
Yeah, because your playground experience.
Yeah, she actually played on the playgrounds there.
Yes, she did.
I'm Christine Underhill. I'm the director for the Parks, Recreation, Library, and Golf Department. I've been in the Parks and Recreation industry since 1996. Went to school for it at Arizona State University. I came to Inglewood in 2020 and happy to be here. Love this little city and everything that we're doing for it. Giving back to the residents that hopefully will last for generations. So I welcome you all to the team of Parks and Recreation. Look forward to working with all of you and getting your input on a lot of these projects and what we're doing here.
I'm Adrian Torres. I'm the open space manager, and I feel like I also grew up in Inglewood. I've been here since 2001, so this was my first full-time position after graduating from UNC, and I've done pretty much everything in the parks. So I feel like I grew up here as well.
And I'm Brad Anderson. I am the Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. I first came to Inglewood in 1985, a month after the Recreation Center opened, and was part-time, and then got a full-time role, I think it was in 91 or 92, and just worked myself up and everything and just enjoyed it. My mother used to work at a flower shop on South Broadway when I was growing up called the Posey Shop, and so I heard all the stories about Inglewood and everything. It was great, the small town feel, and it's kind of nice to still have that feeling. Parks and Rec, what an exciting time, you know, that we have the bond projects coming on, and we're glad to have you guys on here and to help us forge ahead and make all those things become fruition, and it's going to be fun.
And then Kat, we'll kick it over to you on the phone.
Yeah, I'm under the weather a little bit, so I apologize for not being in person, but I'm Kat Hammer. I've been on the board for about 1 year. I work as a planner for Arapahoe County. So I don't really have an understanding of, open space and park and rec. So I thought I'd join this board to have a better understanding of my community and provide some input from a planning perspective, as well as contribute to the citizens of Inglewood as well as Arapahoe County.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. We can move on to your version of roll call, your portion.
Okay, Chair Emma Wood.
Present.
Vice Chair Jenna Biondolillo.
Present.
Kristen Beard.
Present.
Thanks. Kat Hammer.
Present.
Nicholas Palmer.
Present.
Cody Phelps.
Present.
Rhonda Wilcox.
Present.
We have Councilmember Tina Prang.
Present.
And Inglewood School Liaison Dwayne Tucker.
Present.
And staff, we have Director Christina Underhill, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation Brad Anderson, and Parks and Open Space Manager Adrian Torres. All right, thank you.
Okay, we can move on to the approval of the minutes. Are there any edits or corrections to the minutes of January 9th as written? Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes as written?
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, please say nay. Okay, minutes are approved. Do we have any public comment tonight?
We do not.
Okay, we can kick it over to the capital project.
Yeah, so the capital project process of the whole budget for 2026 is in the works right now. And so what we're going to be doing next week or next month, we will bring the capital budget to you to approve before it goes forward through the budget process. What we have in the capital budget is we have the CTF funds, conservation trust funds, or lottery dollars that we get every year. So Those monies are not in the general fund, so they just stand alone, and it actually rolls over each year of those funds. And then also we have the open space fund that is managed by us, and also, I should say managed by Adrian there, does a great job with that one. But that's money that we get from Arapahoe County open space dollars. So there's a taxation on people who live in Arapahoe County. We get a portion of that one, which we've been very fortunate to have. That helps us with a lot of the projects we do before the bond. So Base Logan is a prime example of where a lot of those dollars came from. And then also there's some other capital things that we have that's in the budget too. So we'll bring those numbers towards you, for you, to approve that. So there's a breakdown, and it's a 5-year one. So we're at 25 and go out all the way to 2030, what we're projecting to spend along those each one of the line items. So look forward to that next month.
And what's exciting with these capital funds, with Conservation Trust Fund and Arapahoe Open Space, and that's a 1/4-cent sales tax that was approved, I believe, 2 years ago, that's indefinite, which is wonderful because it does, like Brad said, goes back to our Parks and Recreation, and we were able to do improvements without using true city dollars for that. With the bond passing, it's allowed us to reprioritize all the projects that we had need for in our capital programs. And so shortly Adrian's going to talk about an open space grant. This wasn't even on the radar, high up on the radar, because we had so much other need that now the bond's going to address. And so if you don't mind, we can just roll right into that unless y'all have questions. So in March, we're going to bring back the budgets and talk about some of the projects and how we utilize those dollars for grant matching. So like Bates Logan, we'll do a $600,000 grant and we'll match it with, it's usually 25%, but a lot of times we match it with more, so we can do that much more. So it's a really amazing program. Not many states have this, and this year we received $1.3 million from Arapahoe County, and we anticipate that will continue to grow. It seems to grow every single year. And then the Conservation Trust Fund, it's fluctuated between $400,000 and $600,000 annually. There was some new information that came out this week stating that not as many people are buying lottery tickets right now, but if you do and you don't win, do know what comes back to Parks and Recreation, and it's wonderful because we can reinvest that money, so don't feel bad if you don't win. At least that's the stance I've taken. Donating my funds back to Parks, so go ahead.
All right, so for those of you that don't know, Arapahoe County has an open space grant program. Communities in Arapahoe County can apply for they have large grants and small grants. We typically go for $600,000, and like Christina said, the minimum match is $25,000. I mean 25%. I'm sorry. So that's how we have historically done park improvements to our park systems, was through Arapahoe County grants. So this year we want to do some trail enhancements at Centennial Park. Centennial Park, the asphalt got replaced with concrete in 2011, and that was also a Arapahoe County open space grant. So this will build off that initial project. What we're wanting to do this year is we want to do some solar lighting around the path. We did a test site at Bellevue, and it's been a huge success. It's a huge ask from the community. We get asked all the time for additional solar lighting. So that is part of the grant this year. Another couple things that we're going to do, we're going to replace one of our docks. So those of you who've been around a long time, the dock that was on the west side of Centennial was damaged and removed probably 5 years ago. So that'll be part of that grant to bring that dock back to have ADA access to fish in Centennial Lake. A couple other pieces of that we're super excited about. We've always wanted to do a story walk, so we're going to partner with the library, and it's kind of like you read a book as you walk. So there'll be a placard with 2 pages in it, and then you read it, and then you go further down, and there's the next 2 pages, so that kids can read a story as they walk around Centennial. Another thing that's super exciting is code enforcement is starting to see a lot of different birds come back to Centennial. that are pretty special, and what we're told is they're only seeing them at Centennial, and they're really excited about that. So our twist on that is we want to do some wildlife signage and some, informational signs around the path, to keep an eye out for different birds and wildlife that you could see as you walk around the path. Another thing that we want to tie in with that grant is also, if you've been to Mount Rushmore or some national parks, and they have the big view-finding binoculars, add a couple of those around the path. We found a spot that's towards the Rockies ball field that kind of looks back over the whole park and the whole lake. So that's currently we're having design concepts design that for us. Just so you guys know, we'll go to council sometime in March and get their permission to apply for the grant. Deadline is April 11th, and that's when we'll submit our grant. We'll find out, it's usually the end of July, if we're successful or not. So that's some exciting stuff that's potentially coming to Centennial.
Sorry, can I just make a comment? So I guess with the wildlife interpretive signage and the birding and all of that, I've seen recently some places doing like a bird blind, where it's kind of like a hidden spot where someone can stand. It's like, a wall, and then there's little like holes and maybe the binoculars go through that, but it's kind of a cool idea.
Could you send that to me?
Yeah, I can send you some. I don't know of a specific example in Colorado, but I can send you some of the images that
that'd be great.
Cool.
We're still in the initial design process of it, so we have time to make those kind of adjustments.
Okay, any other questions for Adrian?
As far as the birds that they're seeing there, do they know what kind they are and what's attracting them to that area and able to encourage them to stay and bring their friends? That's a deal.
Oh yeah, okay, so the reason we're seeing more birds that we believe, and this is something that our animal experts in code enforcement have realized, is we did eliminate Centennial as a dog area. So your dog has to be on leash, and prior to 4 years ago, they could run off leash in Centennial Park, and that created a lot of issues with people that go and walk the trail or want to bird watch, and they weren't seeing a lot of birds because the dogs that's fun to chase things that fly, and so they've seen a lot of return of birds to Centennial that they haven't seen in a while. We've seen eagles coming through that are actually most likely the ones that are nesting over here at Broken T right now on the 17th hole. We've seen some geese that were tagged that have returned to the park. Just some random migrating birds that have come through that you typically wouldn't see stopping there. So a couple of years ago, our new park ranger came in, and part of his presentation was showing all the pictures he took, because he's also a photographer, and showed some of the pictures of the birds that he was seeing that were unique to the area, and it was nice to see that. So I think this project, it's more on the educational side versus like the playgrounds side, like what we're doing at Bates Logan. But that means there's something for everybody here, whether you want to have more passive recreation, like walking a trail, reading a book with your child, or for yourself too. And also looking for the birds that might be on the board that's out there to see if you can spot those. So it's a different take on our grants that we haven't gone quite this direction. But again, because of the bond, we're able to do some really neat educational pieces in our parks that we normally wouldn't look at doing because we had other needs elsewhere. It's exciting.
Yeah, that is.
And we're excited to partner with the library. This is something that they've always wanted to do, and we've never had funding, so we're very excited to partner with the library and their children's program to get more people out to Centennial.
And I'm assuming the board will be that you can change out the books.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Children don't, they'll know it's the same book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's called I think it's storywalk.com.
Yes.
And it's a program you can use. So you can actually order the books through that program, and they're all copyright perfect for this. And there's other ways, working with Kimberly Powers in the library, that we can do some other things too. So This is something she's wanted to do since I got here in 2020, and
Yeah.
finally we're pulling it off if we're able to get this grant, so. And it's weird because it's not as cheap as you think it would be. We can do it very low cost and do it in-house, but we want to do something that's going to remain. Hopefully it won't get vandalized. It'll stay for a long time, and we can rotate books through on, you know, maybe a quarterly basis or a seasonal basis too.
So one thing that I will probably ask Emma and you guys as our commission to write a support letter.
Sure.
Be attached to the grant. It's pretty typical for one of the support letters that we're going to the grant.
And we'll accept any support letters we get. So if you feel like writing one, you're welcome to submit that as well, and we'll include that. With Bates Logan, we asked for the neighbors of Bates Logan Park that we knew loved this park to send support letters, and we got a great turnout too, and that just helps strengthen the grant.
Are there any specific like stipulations of the grant as far as what types of improvements can be used, or are you kind of writing what you want? And
There's different categories. It's pretty flexible to say, you know, so I have ran this idea by Arapahoe County, and they gave us the green light to go in this direction.
One last thing, you said that we did a test of solar lighting and it was successful. What other parks, if any, do we have solar lighting in Inglewood?
Just Bellevue.
Okay.
Yep.
We are looking to expand that.
Okay.
And part of the bond, like Cushing, Dog Park, we can do solar lights in the dog park area to light that up at night. Knowing the winter hours, it gets dark earlier, but people still want to take their dogs out. And so they're not cheap, but definitely easier to install, and they last, and it helps light paths. And we want to make our park safe and lit up as possible, but not to disturb the neighborhood too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
We have a solar light in the garden now and it's very bright.
Yeah.
I can attest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure crops are growing all night long.
Yeah.
And we're not planning on lighting it up like an airport. You know, it's going to be, you know, more security lighting so that you can actually enjoy the path at night. It's not going to be that you can see someone that's 10 feet in front of you kind of thing. So it'll be fairly subdued.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, well, we can move on to the Oversight Committee selection.
Excellent. So this will be part of the bond update too. We'll do more of the bond in a second, but one update is initially the bond sale was going to happen in March. It's now going to happen in April, early April timeframe. And so we are working on posting for a project manager that will help us internally manage the bond, manage the projects, the financing, every piece of that. And so that job will go live hopefully probably mid-March, and then we'll have somebody on board by early April for that project. So for the Oversight Committee, it's going to be a lot of internal departments, but we would love to have a Parks and Rec Commission member as part of that committee. Right now we're looking at Thursdays at 2 p.m. We'll have both in person and a Teams option for that, so you're not required to be in person. Jenna and Cody, I think you were interested too. So if anyone else is, this is a decision for the commission to make. You guys can talk about it, and then if you want to do a formal vote to put somebody on, or however you'd like to do that, then we'll be in contact. And then whoever takes it from the commission, it'd be great if you'd be willing to talk about some of what you're learning in the meetings, in addition to the reports that we're going to be giving, because we will give more of the project reports, whereas you may see something else you want to talk about and discuss with the commission.
Okay. Are you both still interested in joining?
yeah, is it every week on Thursday?
It may start off as every week as we're rolling everything out, but then it'll probably taper back to every 2 weeks and then once a month type thing, once everything starts going. Because really, once we go, there's not gonna be a lot of updates every single week to give, other than we're still under construction, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, at least once a week, probably leading up until I'd say May, and then we'll look and see how the projects are rolling out. Like right now, we're rolling out 3 projects. Cushing Park is going to go into construction once we have the bond funding.
I'll start digging.
Yeah, right. And then we have Rotolo and Emerson as well. And so those projects are almost shovel ready. And so it'll be spread out, but talk about yourselves about who wants to be on this committee.
Okay, sorry, one more question. So the committee, I guess, updates on the bond, but like, are we meeting with potentially like the consultants, or is it mostly just kind of the in-house?
It'll most likely be in-house, and maybe possible a consultant will come and present the projects to it. But our financial team, our finance director, and the finance manager is on it. So from the bond management side, there'll be oversight of that. We'll have public works involved. We'll have community development with inspectors involved. So it's an communications team who's doing all the marketing on the public side will be involved as well. So there's probably 12 to 15 people on the oversight committee.
Does that change your interest level?
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry for all the questions, but so I guess specifically, are we looking, and maybe this is a question for the whole commission, but like whoever is our representative, like what is our goal or our tasks with being on this oversight committee? Is that defined yet, or do we need to define that?
That's something you can all define if you'd like. The reason we want the commission to be involved is through the whole bond process. I think there was concerns like the city's hiding something or not enough information is being shared, and we want to be transparent. There's nothing to hide here. This is all for the community. We are working for you. And so, that's up to you guys to set goals. If there's specific things you want to look at as the commission that you want to keep checks on.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I'm happy to do it. I have a lot of flexibility in my job, but I also am not like, I don't care, like it doesn't make a difference to me. I think you bring a great insight to the meetings, and I think you'd be a great representative as well. So I'm happy to defer to you.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to do it. Seems like, yeah, cool way to learn a lot and also, yeah, have our representation there.
Awesome. Yeah, and our project manager will be tasked with taking notes at these meetings, and so we'll have a rolling notebook more or less of everything that's going on. So that's open book to the public and to all of you as well.
Could we reserve time on each agenda moving forward for her to give an update in tandem with you guys?
Totally.
Okay. Would you be comfortable with that?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, this is exciting. I mean, this is historic for Inglewood and for the
Yeah.
future of Inglewood. So we want everyone involved in some way or another. And we'll be doing a lot of public meetings that you all will be invited to get feedback on the designs, what people want to see. We do have to stay within the budget parameters set by our council on each project, as well as what we've presented to the public. We have to stay within those means, but there might be some wiggle room to adjust a few things. We're looking into it, but I think this is a cool example of Miller Field. We're looking to add a splash pad, and Adrian found out in Erie, their splash pad turns into an ice rink in the wintertime. We don't know if it's feasible, but it's something we're looking into to see how they do it. I mean, we have a below freezing day, and then the next day is 51 degrees. Like, how do they keep that frozen? Is it feasible? Could we rent skates? So we're gonna go look at that and see how we can maybe do something, and if it would fit within, but it would expand the splash pad to be more than just a splash pad. So it's things like that if you see something, that like a blind to look at birds. If you see something that you've liked in other parks or other facilities, we want to hear from you about what you're seeing that you think is really amazing, because we want this to be a special community and our parks to be special to all our residents and our facilities too. So yeah, we want your feedback.
Are these project plans something that we can see as well?
Yeah, definitely. So as we get going, we'll have projects to show you. We might not go into great detail, especially if we have a public meeting where we'll have a whole presentation, but at least we'll show you like conceptual designs. Now here's the public meeting and the results we received from that and the feedback. And so this is what's changed. And so we'll keep you updated each month. But we do have to remember time constraints, and we have 3 years to spend 85%, which is 30 $8 million. We know we can do it. It's just, we have to keep it moving. So we're glad you're all involved. We want your feedback. And we will present all of them to you as well.
And I will send out an email with the link to the website that has, what's it called?
Inglewood Engaged is the website that every project we're looking at across the city now is getting posted on that. So it's not just parks and recreation program projects on there, but other city projects as well. So you can learn a lot about what's going on in the city in addition to parks and recreation.
I just wanted to add too that whole community engagement piece and having a presence, if we can, at those community meetings where we're talking design, will be a very important part for council to hear, follow up on. We, tend to get a lot of scrutiny or question marks thrown at us, and oftentimes there's a level of skepticism that it's always the same voices that are giving input. And so as much as we can, make sure that we're out there and able to report back to council that, yes, there were people present, here is what they weighed in on, there's community support for it, I think we'll go the distance. We didn't have unanimous support for the bond on council when we passed it, and so it just becomes more important for us to really show that we're having a lot of integrity in those community conversations.
And we are posting survey results on Inglewood Engage too, so you can see what the community commented on and know what they said. Sometimes the comments are not appropriate, but we still post them. But expect that. So
I imagine that does not have the project budgets and current funding levels and all on it, meaning how much things cost along the way for the projects.
We put the overall number on there. So like
estimated cost, presumably.
Yeah, for the bond initiative,
bond,
they had
yes.
to have an estimated for every project. Is that on the bond webpage still, or will that be?
Actually, we have a new page coming out. I don't know if it's live yet. Renew and Recreate is what the bond's turning into, and what will be the tagline for it, and that'll have all the details. So if you were following the bond last year, we had a webpage that was dedicated. It listed every single project and the proposed changes that you can see in the dollar amounts for those projects that council had set on, and so it'll have high level. We don't break it down to every bit that's in like construction bids, but the high level side you'll get.
Kind of like that. It's changed a little bit, but that's generally what it should look like. On that note of meetings, are there any that we should be aware of in the next month?
No, we'll probably look at this end of March will be the first one, because we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves with the monies not being available to do anything really, other than a few designs. So end of March, and that should get us the project manager on board hopefully with that too.
Why the delay from March to April?
Bond council.
Okay.
It's a money thing.
Okay.
Brad and I have been sitting in a lot of those meetings, and it's a totally different world when they start talking bond money. So there's a lot of interesting things we're learning. But again, our finance director, he's been through it with the police station and other bonds in the past. So I have high confidence in who we're working with and the bond council that we're working with and all of that. So. Oh, we met with an investor this week too. So they take the bond monies and invest it. If you're interested in learning more about that, we can always invite Kevin, who's our finance director, to come talk to you. But it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
Is there more on the bond that you wanted to share?
Brad, do you want to add anything about the RFPs and stuff that we have out?
Yes, so 2 weeks ago, we had the pre-proposal meeting for ERC where the contractors came in and who wanted to bid on the design for the recreation center. Questions were answered, the addendum went out to them, and that RFP closes next week on the 20th. There was approximately 30 different vendors there, so a lot of interest at the rec center one.
That's a huge turnout, by the way. 30 is
crazy. Usually get 2, 3 maybe, but.
Who were some of the big contractors? Was
Councilman Hunsick was
Peterson one of
there.
them? AP?
I don't.
Because they did the police department, they did the police station.
Right.
Edolfson and Peterson.
But they weren't there. Pinkard was there.
Pinkard,
I know that
okay.
they were there. And some other designers that we've worked with too, so a lot of interest. Austin Lavoie was there. so which is an architect firm in the metro area and stuff, so quite a few.
It's competition and love that
Yeah.
because then you're looking at potentially better
Price down.
pricing for the design because people want it.
And then this morning, we had the RFP pre-proposal meeting for Pirates Cove. We had about 18 different vendors that we got one. So that was good, and that project is closing on March 13th. So that RFP closes on that March 13th, so we're excited about that as well.
Last Friday, we had
Yeah, I can talk about where the parks are at.
yeah, that's perfect.
So Cushing is currently out to bid. It closes next week, I do believe. We had our pre-proposal meeting last week. We probably had 8 or so contractors at that meeting. So Cushing will be our first, where you'll see the first movement. So, we have 100% design and we're ready to go on Cushing. So kind of how that works, we'll have an evaluation committee who will go through the proposals, and then we'll select a contractor and go to council. So hopefully after we get the funds in April, that one you'll start to see movement over at Cushing. Emerson, we have 70% construction drawings on Emerson that we're reviewing now. So we will meet with that design team over the next couple weeks to get any changes that we want in those construction drawings. And then that will be most likely the second one that you see will be Emerson Park. Rotolo has slowed down a little bit with the stormwater project that's also going on over there. So Rotolo, we're not quite to 70% drawings yet. So I would guess that we'll have 70% probably by April. And then, so Rotolo will be probably in the fall where you would see construction start at Rotolo. We have selected, or we have assigned design firms for Miller and for Bellevue and for Bard and for Clarkson, so Northwest. So we're very busy with design contracts and getting all the back end stuff going so that once we do receive funding, that they can start designing those parks. So those will most likely be in 26 and 27.
So the park projects are all for a shortlisted or a on-call list of firms or designers, right?
Mhm.
And then the rec center and the Pirates Cove were just open RFPs?
Yes.
Well, I did see the rec center RFP and I was happy to see that the plunge pool made it
Yes,
as an optional,
I told you we
optional
could
scope
sneak
item.
it in, so-
I didn't.
Cold plunge pool.
Oh, very
Jen has
exciting.
adjusted it and they brought it in. I'm excited.
Optional scope.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions for Adrian?
Yeah, and I forgot where I was gonna ask, then I remember. Not necessarily for Adrian, but just about the bond in general. One of the things I really love about the rec center going in is that engagement piece that kind of gets updated every once in a while with like Thanksgiving, it was like turkey or pie.
Oh, the stickers.
Is there any way to utilize that area maybe for some of these projects and some engagement with citizens? Because it would be a nice, obviously they're engaged, citizens are using the rec center, and so I think it'd be good to get some input
For sure.
in that way.
We'll do, like when we have public meetings, we'd like to have them at the location if the weather allows us to. We ran out of time for like Cushing Park. It was way too dark and too cold, so we had it here in this facility. But yeah, rec center, we'll do all the public meetings inside the rec center. Pirates Cove, we'll see. We could probably do it there in the staff room
So,
maybe, depending on the time of year and everything. So we'd like to be on site so people can visualize what could be coming to that park or that facility. So yeah, that's a great.
And we're working with communications for in-place marketing, and that can be one of the pieces for that wall, because we haven't really decided what we're gonna do with that wall yet, but that'd be a prime place to keep updates and stuff on it.
And then I had a comment, just for the new people, when talking about the bond, especially in all these different projects. One of the things that kind of was misconstrued a lot during the bond process was all of this stuff is set in stone. Oh, they're doing this to this park. There are drawings, there are descriptions, there are things like that, concepts for all of these different parks and everything that will be impacted. However, nothing is set in stone. There is still plenty of opportunity for input and changes that we'll continue to see and do over time. But as you talk to people and they ask questions like that, like, oh, I heard that's all being turned into native plants. Like, native plants are a part of a project, but we'll look and see what people want. So just as you engage with people, everything is still very open. We have money, we know that now, but in terms of, and there's a general scope of it, but nothing's complete yet.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you, Cody. Again, like I said, the parameters are the cost. So the dollar amounts and the programmatic pieces that we said we'd like to do, like the splash pad at Miller, and council agreed to that. So those are the parameters, but the designs you once saw are no longer, and they can start from scratch. And this is where we want public input and all your input too.
Yeah, Rotolo is a great example. I mean, what the concept was is completely different from what the, where we ended after community feedback in that neighborhood. So, yeah, thank you, Cody.
Kristen, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask because I know we were talking specifically about the bond, but do we have any update on Bates Logan, like the next phase and when it's going to be open to the public? There's just a lot of people in the neighborhood asking me for an update.
Are we done with bond?
Any other questions on the bond? And then we'll give an update on that. Thanks, Kristen.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
So Bates Logan, the contractor who was awarded phase 1, phase 2 was also awarded phase 3. So phase 3 and phase 2 are kind of going simultaneously, which will speed up the opening of that park, hopefully.
Weather is going to be a big component of when this park can open. If we have a lot of snow coming in, they're going to be delayed in getting some of the concrete poured and some of the other projects done. So again, we're shooting for early summer. We want this playground to be open, this park to be open, so everybody can enjoy it in the perfect months. So
kind of the next steps that you'll see is they did pour some concrete recently. They have another pour next week. I've said this several times, but the basketball court should be soon. The subcontractor the company was bought out and was kind of in limbo for a little while, so that's kind of what's delayed that. We're waiting for warmer temperatures for the pouring place on the playground. They're going to start the irrigation system. Part of phase 3 is replacing the entire irrigation system. So our goal is to do that before April-ish, before soccer season starts, so that they're hoping they can do that now and be out of there when soccer starts. American Ramp Company, who's the subcontractor for the bike park piece of it, is tentatively scheduled for April. So they'll come in and do that piece. Having said all that, we're hoping, like Christina said, end of May, beginning of June, hopefully this summer, that we can have a big grand opening.
Ribbon cutting, you name it. We're actually planning a pretty decent event out there, working with our events supervisor to do that and make it a to-do, because this is so Baker Park's fully renovated. Now Bates Logan will be fully renovated and done, which we're excited about.
Sorry, that last part that you said, like after soccer season, but you said you're hoping for something by April. I just couldn't hear what you said.
So they're hoping to do the irrigation system starting soon, so that
after that. You said something after that.
American Ramp.
Oh, I'm sorry. American Ramp Company, who's doing the bike part of the project, will come in April, May-ish to do that piece. So we're hoping into May, beginning of June, we'll have both phases wrapped up. The bocce ball court is starting to take shape over there. You can start seeing some of the paths and stuff that'll lead to that.
And for the new bees here, it was supposed to be a pickleball court, but with all the controversy and pickleball and the noise that it makes and the close by neighbors, our previous commission members had mentioned bocce ball would be really fun. And 2 of those people actually live by Bates Logan. So we're putting in bocce ball, and we don't have that anywhere else in our system. So that'll be unique to Bates Logan Park.
I think Wash Park has a bocce ball court.
They do.
Yeah, Wash Park has a bocce ball.
They do. It's a nice
Yeah, it's a nice
court. We're not gonna go that big or that
But
nice.
still, bocce ball will be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Adrian on Bates Logan? Okay, we can move on to staff's choice if there's anything else you guys want to talk through.
So I have one thing. We need a Parks and Recreation Commission member to be the liaison for the Malley Trust funds. The requirement is you have to be 55 plus to join the Malley Trust.
I'll be eligible in June.
In June? Okay.
So,
Or would you be interested in that in June?
I can't till June.
Okay.
I'm not 55 till June.
Okay, would you be interested though in June to join?
Sure, depend when does it meet? And how
Meets quarterly, so it's
Okay.
on a Monday, usually in, what, 2
2
o'clock?
o'clock.
Okay,
Would that work in a schedule of yours or?
I believe so,
Okay.
if it's only quarterly.
You
We'll
see, you
talk to
asked to get involved, and here you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, now you're on the
I'm
school
very
board.
excited about turning 55, so I'm gonna make the best of it.
Yeah, okay. We'll stay in touch.
Okay.
Pardon?
She looked an old time.
I know. I look 55. You don't look 55.
Okay, anything else?
Oh, I think those are the big updates for now. We're not even, we're getting close to event season. When that gets closer, we'll have updates on events coming up and summer programming. Are we posting jobs yet at Pirates Cove? Is that posted?
Job postings will be out next week. Pirates Cove, there's a couple of farm and train job postings should be out end of this week if they're not up right now, but they're coming. Most of the summer job postings are coming out now, so.
Yeah, so summer camp jobs, parks, hires seasonals, the golf course hires seasonals. So if you know anybody looking for a seasonal job, all those postings should be up in the next month or 2.
Okay, well, we can move on to commissioner's choice, and for the new members here, this is the commission's opportunity to bring up anything else that wasn't on the formal agenda, something that came to mind after we talked about the thing on the agenda, something else random that you wanted to share with the group here. So I can open the floor if anybody has something on their brain.
What's the current estimated completion date of all the work that's going to happen because of the bond? Has that been worked out?
April of
27?
2020, no, we have 3 years, so starting
2028?
2028, yeah.
Okay, okay.
So the majority, our goal is to get it done in 3 years, but there may be a few
Sure.
things like Bellevue Parks and the FEMA floodplain.
Yep,
There might
yep.
be a lot that we have to work through for that, so that might delay a few things. But our goal is to get it done as quickly as possible, and so your money can be used, literally.
Is that a strict deadline? Is there flexibility
There
given
is.
weather? Okay.
There is, as long as you're showing good faith effort, so like if most everything's been completed, but these few things remaining, there is forgiveness pieces in that, but we want to get it spent and open to everyone as quickly as possible.
Anyone else? Okay.
Any school updates?
Oh, would you like to give some school updates?
Oh, sure. All good news. The legislative session's going on at the state right now. There's it looks like it's quite possible that there's going to be a bill passed to change how they do the per pupil funding in the state, which would not serve us well here in Inglewood. So keeping an eye on that. And then, of course, like all of you, keeping an eye on what's going on at the federal level. There's potential changes coming out of that. So keeping an eye on that. And then I think I told you all last time that we're looking at sort of maybe a different solution for our 2 middle schools that we have in the district right now. So we've gone through, we had town halls, we had a survey out on the street, and we'll be voting on that in March, first meeting in March. So
What will happen to the 2 middle schools?
We don't know yet. That's what we're going to vote on.
Oh,
If we're going to leave them the same, if we're going to, the option to merge, combine in some form, or keep them somewhat separate. So,
oh, okay.
so that's what I have. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. All right, last call.
Is the Little Dry Creek, it used to be Costa Vida, a long time ago it was Pier 1 Imports.
Oh,
Yeah, that whole area along there, that's not us, is it?
That is.
Oh,
It's kind of a partnership. Mile High Flood District manages the creek piece of it, and then it's in the Inglewood downtown district area too. So interesting you brought that up. I'm actually working on bringing back a consultant that we had 2 years ago that did a design for that area. We didn't have funding, it got pulled out of the bond projects. But in partnership with EDDA, we have some funding and we have some additional city funding through our capital program. So we're gonna actually relaunch looking at how to renovate that space. And that'll be happening through probably July with the consultant, going to a variety of events. There's a music festival that's gonna be down
The
there in
Swallow
June.
Hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they'll be there at that to get feedback and see how people dream, how that area could look and what they think, so.
Because I know they did that incline, they redid that incline area and put a
We
few
have the
things.
grand staircase that
Yeah,
was added.
and then it seemed like nothing else happened, and I was just curious, I lived down, okay.
Yeah, so there's gonna be movement down there in the near future. Probably you won't see any major construction or anything happening until next year, depending on how all the public feedback goes and what the cost comes in at too, because we are limited through funding. But currently we have just under 1.3 million to work with citywide, and then EDDA also has some funding that they can contribute. Initially, it was gonna be a $4 million project. Nobody had that funding, so that's another park that we're looking at renovating outside of the current bond projects as well.
And have the businesses in that area, especially that restaurant, I think it's an Indian.
It's
Sakura
delicious
or
if you
something.
haven't tried it yet.
Have they put any input into that area that's right outside?
They may have with EDDA because they worked with like the patio improvement area. We do want to, beautify that section. So when you are dining there, it's an enjoyable space to be. They will be part of the planning process, and EDDA will work with those businesses that impact the bank that's right there also to get their feedback on what they'd like to see in that section.
Okay, good.
Okay. Well, with all business concluded, this meeting is adjourned at 4 p.m.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Bye, Kat. Bye, Kristen. Thanks for joining.
Bye, you guys. See you next month. Thanks for making it possible.
So they were not